Happy Friday. Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Johnny Venerable, Brack in studio. Check us out at gophnx.com. Become a diehard. 20% off the sweet merchandise locker. It's a football Friday. Brack, plenty to talk about.
That's right. What was it? Tom Petty that was once saying, waiting is the hardest part. And when this team is 1-8 and they've seen the quarterback play that we've had to endure since Kyler Murray went out 11 months ago this Sunday, yeah, the wait is over. I mean, we've got 2 more days until Kyler Murray takes the field for his 2023 season debut. What's it mean for the Arizona Cardinals? We're going to get into that in our full game predictions, maybe some players of the game.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of us was bold enough to pick the Cardinals franchise quarterback as one. But it's an exciting time, that's for sure.
I love this comment from Dylan Richards, friend of the program. I'm like a kid on Christmas Eve. I want to hug everybody. Well, I'd like to hug Kyler Murray today and just say, welcome back. It's great to see K1 on the practice field. It's great to see him at the press conference yesterday. You had a front seat for that yesterday. And let me just tell you, if you didn't listen to our audio-only podcast that dropped late last night, so many things to break down, layered with Kyler Murray's responses. But the biggest thing right now is this team just feels dramatically different. And that's cliche to say. I know they're ridiculously an underdog this week to Taylor Heineke, but in the landscape of the NFC, like Kyler Murray being back and playing Kyler Murray football means winning football for the Arizona Cardinals, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at how this team has played defensively the last couple weeks, and it lacked the ability overall as a team to play complementary football.
Yeah.
That was a big time issue. And Kyler Murray coming back with, James Conner very likely going to be activated tomorrow once they make their pregame, roster moves, and they'll start to kind of tweak, who's going to get elevated from the practice squad. But for sure, they'll activate James Conner. He'll be good to go and back in his normal RB1 spot. That those two type of playmakers immediately just kind of transform what the Cardinals can do offensively. And with that, it transforms what the Cardinals can do overall as a team. Like, it's in every single phase. I mean, it probably won't impact special teams, but what they do offensively and defensively, it just absolutely puts them in a much better position for success.
Well, we fast forward to today based on where this team was like even a month ago. No Kyler Murray, no Budda Baker, no James Conner. And the games became more difficult to consume. Those are your players that are making the most money on the team. They're your best players at the end of the day. And the Cardinals, listen, they're going to have some change this offseason. We don't know who's going to be back. But for a single Sunday, to be able to watch number 6, number 1, number 3, and Arizona Cardinal red and white, it's a good feeling, especially when you consider like this team in their heyday when they were kicking ass and taking names 2 years ago. This was a franchise that was tops in the NFC for 9 weeks of the season. This was a franchise that had dates set in the postseason as NFC West contenders, NFC contenders. They can get back to that, recapture some of that magic here at the tail end of 2023. I think it goes a long way in giving this franchise hope extending beyond just this season.
Yeah, what you've seen from the quarterback position this year, and a tip of the cap to Josh Dobbs, even though I think there was a bit of controversial.
You want to touch on that real quick?
Well, let's get into it in just a second. I mean, outside of that, like let's not use that happened this morning, that there was a video that was edited together that Joshua Dobbs, it was I guess promoted as Dobbs saying that Jonathan Gannon lied to his face. But Joshua Dobbs, as far as the job he was asked to do, I felt like he did it, right? Obviously, he tapered off and the production fell off a cliff, and his inability to really take care of the football really put this offense in a tough spot down the stretch there. Yeah. But what he did, I think, just filling in for Kyler Murray was nice, but where his deficiencies were, Kyler Murray can pick up those. I mean, as far as just overall, just his arm talent, his accuracy, and playing in this offense, he's going to elevate this offense immediately. And what James Conner brings to the table in setting up the threat and the conflict as far as the play action, are they going to pass, are they going to run? And then having Kyler Murray with the arm talent to really expose that against the defense that struggled against not great quarterbacks. I mean, we're talking Sam Howell. We're talking Will Levis in his first start throwing for 4 touchdown passes, and Joshua Dobbs coming in with no reps with the offense that he's playing in, giving up 3 total touchdowns. I mean, the opportunity is right there to immediately hit the ground running as an offense.
You guys are hitting the ground running here with your super chats. Let's get to them. In the meantime, like this video. Dirt Bike Boy 714-499, so generous. I want to be fair. I got tickets this Sunday, so I'm willing to give up my shirt to anyone else, or I'm willing to wait till next week. Dirt Bike Boy, we're going to hook you up in the off season. We are going to give out some t-shirts later in the show. I think we've got 5 questions on the docket. Dirt Bike Boy, though, we will hook you up in due time. Appreciate the super chat, my guy. And, you know, Joshua Dobbs was my guy, and then it felt like this morning I had been, you know, stabbed in the back by our guy, Joshua Dobbs. In all seriousness, he was on a podcast. Of course, the Twitter streets and their ineptitude led by Dove, the algorithm king, or whatever it is, the aggregated king, basically come out and posted a clip saying that Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenford lied to Joshua Dobbs about how that trade went down, when in reality, like, we have this source. It's like, no, Gannon gave him the most accurate, up-to-date information when they spoke. And then, like the NFL, things change. Kirk Cousins, his Achilles exploded, and they vetted their options on Monday. And it does sound like, based off what we were able to kind of decipher, they were going to start Clayton Tune regardless against the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, that was the conversation. I mean, and Dobbs included that. I think at some point, and I felt like this sometimes when we'd hear from Dobbs on Wednesday. I mean, and I remember this from like Robert Griffin III when he was trying to come back and he was struggling at the tail end of his career. But there is a point of transparency that isn't helpful for anybody involved. And I think, you know, him going on a podcast and being as fully as transparent as he possibly could and showing everything, it almost aired some, not necessarily dirty laundry, but things that I think the public don't necessarily understand. Like, I think of all people, Joshua Dobbs and his journey throughout the NFL should understand the business side of this and how things can change at the drop of the hat. How it happened to him throughout this summer, throughout training camp, throughout preseason. What he was provided by for the Arizona Cardinals was a chance to go and kind of give him the spotlight as a starting quarterback and continue his career and take advantage of an opportunity he never received previous to that, and to kind of just so he could keep up this full transparency and take people throughout the process of him getting dealt. I think it threw the people and all parties involved under the bus a bit.
Well, who does it help by sharing this information if you're Joshua Dobbs? You're already the darling in the NFL right now, the offensive player of the week in the NFC. I think, to your point, like the Cardinals, I don't want to say gifted Joshua Dobbs an opportunity, but they gave him one that no one else was entertaining. I mean, he was going to be the backup or the backup to the backup in DTR in Cleveland. Now, I think he would have played at some point, but like he got to showcase on a Cardinal team, albeit that was, you know, middling and lacking some talent. He got to be showcased week in and week out to the point where Minnesota said, that's the guy we want, first in line. Get him here. Let's give him an opportunity. And it's going to set him up, man. Like Joshua Dobbs is going to be set up in this league for the next 3 to 5 years as a marquee bridge or backup, and it's going to extend his career. And you're not going to be able to pinpoint any other scenario in which, other than what Arizona and Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenford bestowed upon him. So while I agree with the chat, like saying Dobbs didn't do anything wrong, I do think there is an ability, and we talked about this on our audio-only podcast. Let's read the room. Let's just say, okay, I've been traded. I appreciate what the Cardinals did. I'm coming here on a short week. This is what I experienced when I got to Minnesota. No one needs to hear about the minutia of what somebody said to you in the heat of the moment, post-game on a Sunday into a Monday, right? That's some information that at the end of the day, like I mentioned, doesn't really help anyone.
Right. No, it doesn't. And I think it kind of takes away from the experience and the opportunity that he received from this organization.
Right.
And you know, trying to watch the podcast and get full context because it is edited, but it doesn't take out really too much. I mean, there wasn't other information. I asked Jonathan Gannon on Monday. It was trade deadline eve.
Yeah.
I said, how much do you work in concert with Monty Ossenfort as far as making moves?
Yeah.
He said, that's that's his expertise. If he has some questions, he'll come to me. So there wasn't anything like him and Jonathan Gannon working and trying to pull the wool over Joshua Dobbs' eyes the final 24 hours he was in that building. So for Jonathan Gannon to go to Joshua Dobbs and say, you're not getting traded, I don't believe that Jonathan Gannon was fibbing or not telling the truth at that time.
I think if you need to see, like, not the disconnect, but the stay in your lane mentality of Gannon and Ossenfort, go back and watch like the draft clips. Like, personnel is Ossenfort's. Like, he may, touch base with Gannon on preference, right? But it's like, I'm going to do my best to help the team, and Gannon's going to coach the players, right? And at the time that Dobbs was asking, JG what was going on, it's like JG's giving you an honest answer. Ossenfort may have had something different in mind, but like this is beneficial for Joshua Dobbs. This entirety, like, what do you think would have been better for Dobbs? For the Cardinals to hang on to him and then he's sitting the rest of the year, or for giving him a platform in Minnesota to go do his thing? So,
yeah,
I don't know. It's a non-story, hopefully in about 4 days' time, and that's where I want to focus on now.
Sure. I mean, but it's another one of those things, just like earlier in the week with Kyler Murray having to take flack for not being in his press conference on Wednesday that was never truly scheduled, right? He ended up talking on Thursday. So to me, it becomes a moot point. We heard from the quarterback, the starting quarterback, leading up to that week's game. That's the whole reason the NFL has rules in place to make sure that, everybody gets to hear from that quarterback. And then you've got this where I think when you've got people who take these and post them out of context and add their own opinion to it, because that's what Dobbs said, is basically JG lied to his face, where that's not necessarily the case. I think it just paints the Arizona Cardinals organization that's already trying to save its own face throughout all of this, right? A lot of the problem falls on the shoulders of the previous regime, but what Jonathan Gannon's trying to do, what Monty Ossenfort's trying to do, the culture change that's happening, it's like one step forward, two steps back.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's unfortunate. And I'm not blaming Dobbs for it, but at some point you kind of have to say, okay, does everybody need an in-depth look at the process? Do we have to see how the sausage is made for every single part, an aspect of his trade? Like Jonathan Gannon saying in his post-game presser that Dobbs is going to be the starter next week. And then he watched the tape. We all saw the tape. It was bad play by him at that point.
Right.
So it's it was. I thought it was to see that become as big a story as it has. It's unfortunate.
The Cardinals want to get back to the story being the play on the field, and that has too long been the narrative with this team, dating back to last year. And hopefully Sunday represents that. Like even the Kyler Murray tweets this morning, very predictable with video games and the new like, Modern Warfare, or Call of Duty, or whatever's coming out. I mean, that's just
it's hilarious.
They're going to have to tune that out, and I think they will. And I think it starts this weekend.
That's so funny.
I'm laughing my head off, man. Super original. It's like the 30th Marvel movie. It's just they keep firing out winners, folks. So let's get to some of these super chats. You guys are fantastic here on a Football Friday. In the meantime, like this video. Saint Blurry back to back. Thank you so much. $9 a super chat from Saint Blurry, and then another $9. Put your money on K1 this weekend. I'm all for that. We're going to get to my DraftKings pick of the week. It's Kyler Murray adjacent, but this is also K1 adjacent. Let's look at the injury report. Arizona Cardinals hosting the Atlanta Falcons, and I think much more promising than 48 hours ago, Bo. And you have to look at that offensive line. Tell us what you know about Will Hernandez and G.J. Humphries right now.
I mean, Will Hernandez is an absolute just warrior.
Yeah.
I mean, there was earlier this season where he missed time in practice due to a back injury. He was right back out there on Sunday. He missed Friday practice. He got, cupping and all that stuff that you do.
Yeah.
You could tell that he was putting in the time in the training room in order to get his body where it needed to be, at least to get out there and give himself a shot. And now you've got this week where he got injured in the previous game with the knee injury. Didn't practice Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday, was back out there, heavily wrapped knee. He was doing everything he could to get that thing ready to go. I think Will Hernandez is in his usual right guard spot. So you've pretty much got, the right side of your offensive line right where it's been all season long. Paris Johnson Jr., who's been playing well, and then his buddy cop and Will Hernandez right back at his right guard spot. It's an awesome tandem. And then, we'll see what they do with the left side, but it doesn't look nearly as bad as it was looking earlier this week. So because I think Calvin Beachum, the guy who was the most consistent offensive lineman outside of Will Hernandez last year, played in all 17 games for the Cardinals last season. He's available to step in and play that left tackle spot. I don't think production falls off a cliff with Beach in there.
Also, can we be frank? Like, DJ Humphries was not playing good football before he went out. Like, he's a better player probably than Calvin Beachum on any given Sunday. But Beachum, to me, like, this team, they won a lot of games with Kyler Murray and Calvin Beachum starting in this offense. So, like, this is not dire straits where we thought, 3 or 4 of the starting offensive linemen are gone. I think Yelda Froldholt is one of the most reliable players on the team, one of the most impactful players. You talk about, like, the cadence with Kyler Murray and being able to go through your protections and this offense debuting with K1 for the first time. He's like most important player this week. And now you have Will Hernandez, Paris Johnson Jr. against what I think is a pretty marginal front seven for the Atlanta Falcons. Like, this is enough, in my opinion, especially when, like, nobody's healthy week 10 or 11 of the NFL season. Like, can we throw that out the window? And the Cardinals, ironically, like, Michael Wilson's going to play. Hollywood Brown's, fighting through an ankle injury all year. He's playing. James Conner is back. Trey McBride, tight end 1. So there are minimal excuses for Drew Petzing and company against an Atlanta team that I think is on the verge of imploding. Like, Arthur Smith potentially could be fired after this year. You got it carved up by Joshua Dobbs. You don't know how to use Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts. I'm a victim of Kyle Pitts usage in our fantasy football league, so much so you dropped Trey McBride, your boy. I picked him up this week. I'm benching Kyle Pitts against the Arizona Cardinals. Hopefully that's a good thing, but in all seriousness, Paul, like, the injury report, I feel like this is as good as it can be for the Arizona Cardinals ahead of Atlanta.
Let's get our facts straight. I never had Trey McBride on my roster. I would never. I'm a McBride or die. I would never.
You didn't drop him in our league? Who dropped him then?
I don't know. Some fool.
Some fool. Yeah. Okay. I mean,
right. And you said, come to Papa. Come to Papa. You're a McBride's maid. You get him on your roster, and Daddy Fantasy's trending in the right direction. And I'm proud of you. You're trying to keep yourself. You're fighting for your life to stay at a Waffle House.
I can't watch Jonnu Smith outgain Kyle Pitts anymore. Right. I said enough is enough. I'm not having that. The Cardinals, by the way,
you're done waking up each Sunday morning and putting on the clown makeup as you insert Kyle Pitts back into your lineup each and every week.
I had the Deebo Samuel, Justin Fields, Kyle Pitts trifecta, and this was the last shoe to fall. None of them will be in my starting lineup this weekend. Here's what I will say about Trey McBride. Cardinals, a little analytic nugget for everybody.
Okay.
Second easiest tight end schedule the rest of the way. If you don't think Trey McBride is going over 100 yards at some point in these next 8 games, you are fooling yourself. He is, along with Hollywood Brown, the most logical breakout candidate. But, like, you're going to look back on this, and we're going to fast forward to 2024. Trey McBride is going to be in everybody's top 10 tight ends entering next year.
Eris asking if Ertz is done for the season. No, I mean, they anticipate Ertz coming back at some point, the birthday boy today. But, I think that Trey McBride took advantage of the opportunity, already having, a franchise record at tight end, 10 receptions a couple weeks ago for 95 yards and that touchdown. I don't think he's going to relinquish tight end 1 duties any longer. I think it belongs to Trey McBride, especially when, as bees came into the chat and said, happy week 1 to those who celebrate. There is a bit of a renewal going on this weekend.
Yeah,
and I
love
think
that.
Even with that, the Cardinals at 1-8, the playoffs, the chances of that are in the rearview mirror. But so now the emphasis is and the focus is on who's coming with them beyond 2023. And Trey McBride, he can entrench himself in that with more stellar play going forward. So I don't even with Ertz coming back, I think that would become in more of a tight end 2 role.
Mason in the chat, if Kyler blows out the Falcons, all media outlets will do a complete 180. I can't wait for it. It's poised for that. I mean, I really do believe we're about 4 days away from that potentially happening. And then, again, I won't get ahead of ourselves. You look at the schedule, very, very Kyler Murray friendly with Houston and the LA Rams on the docket here. Cardinals can put a nice little stretch of quality play together. Like, I really does feel like we're at the tail end of the poor play because of the circumstances that surrounded this team. Health is a big factor, and I'm fired up to see it. And they also, they made a move today under the radar, but I think could be impactful over the last, 6 to 8 weeks of the season. They went out and they signed a defensive tackle formerly of Tennessee, not to the active roster, Bo, but to the practice squad, somebody that we thought the Cardinals might have interest in.
Yeah, Naquan Jones, who comes over from Tennessee, big boy, 313 out of Michigan State. Saw him out there in street clothes today. Looked like he just put ink to paper on his practice squad deal. And it is a very low risk, medium reward for the Arizona Cardinals. Can he be somebody that in the next couple weeks carves out a role for himself, maybe gets elevated from the practice squad to the active roster and cracks that 5-man rotation on the defensive line? And if anybody can find a way to join Dante Stills, to join this defensive line group from 2023 to 2024, that's a win, right? And I like that they were patient, because a lot of people saw that Jones was placed on waivers. Why didn't they pick him up off waivers? Well, they played their cards right, because if they picked him off waivers, he has to go on the active roster.
Yeah.
So now you get the benefit of adding this player to your team that you have familiarity with, at least Monty Ossenfort during his Tennessee days, and you can kind of get him acclimated without having to take up a roster spot.
And potentially his debut will be against a ex-division rival in Houston next week. That's to the Cardinals' benefit. Jessica, who won a T-shirt earlier this week. Hopefully we can see Jessica this Sunday at Gila River. $10 super chat. Cannot wait to see Kyler Murray out there this weekend. Thank you so much, Jessica. I'll see you on Sunday at Wild Horse Pass. One half of Jobo Duo. Hey, here's what we can do. So we'll see you this Sunday, and then come out the following Sunday at BetMGM Sportsbook at the Great Lawn. You get a little bit of
gets just as well with, I think, the Joe Go, which is the Johnny Golden duo out there. Britton Golden will be out there.
We have such a banner day planned this Sunday at Gila River Wild Horse Pass. We're going to talk more about it here in a little bit, but fired up to see everybody. I mean, you want to talk about a Kyler Murray extravaganza, signed helmet, signed football, opportunity to win a ton of PHNX swag. It's going to be one of the best events we have done to date. We want to see you all out there in the chat. If you're in the greater Phoenix, East Valley area, come out. Super easy to get to. I live about 20 minutes away. Gila River Wild Horse Pass, the watch party of the year. Kyler Murray's return, food and drink specials. I'm going to tell you right now, Bo, Gila River has one of the best sports books I have ever seen. And it's like, I was talking to Saul, our GM, the last time I was out there, and it's like, technically, so you cannot gamble on your phone, even if you have, the BetMGM Sportsbook app. You have to use like the hard copy ticket. I kind of like that. There's something about going up to the ticket counter and say like, hey, let me get $5 on XYZ anytime touchdown. Like, it's a throwback. It's great. It's the best part about sports books.
Feel it right there in your fingertips.
That's
like,
right.
Feel that paper. You know what that paper feels like? Cash, hope. Right?
Winning.
Everything that you want. I mean, that little slip of paper right there. It just it's all right there. Just a little betting slip. When then if you lose, you just throw it on the floor. No, you don't. You don't litter.
In the trash can. You can be a winner with us. We've got 5 shirts to give away today. Count them 5. 5 trivia questions. If you win a shirt today, come pick it up this weekend. If you don't, just come hang out anyway. RSVP on our Twitter. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you, my DraftKings pick of the week right now, Trey McBride, anytime touchdown, plus 225 with our friends at DraftKings. So if you want to dabble right now, get those odds while you can. Greater odds than Kyle Pitts anytime touchdown, which is good for your boy. But also, like, outside of James Conner, you can't get plus money on right now. Trey McBride, if you're talking like through the air, I love Hollywood Brown. I think Trey McBride sees like 8 to 10 targets this weekend. Do you agree with that?
Here's the issue I have with that, and
okay.
I'd love to go full on.
I don't want to hear this.
Buy in on that, right? And I want to ride McBride die with you on
Yes.
that. But Kyler Murray likes to kind of spread the football around. Obviously, he had his hype man throughout this entire process. His name is Hollywood Brown, and we'll see how sticky AJ Terrell is, and that could be a deterrent for Hollywood, and that would only kind of boost Trey McBride bettors out there. But Michael Wilson, Rondell Moore, I think gets more involved. So I think that's the only thing that stands in the way.
When Zach Ertz joined this team, he had the most targets in a 10-game span in Arizona Cardinal tight end franchise history. So just saying, in 2021, it can happen. It's going to happen with you with our friends at DraftKings using the bonus code PHNX. Again, you place $5, you get $200 back in bonus bets, regardless of your wager's outcome. Again, PHNX, new customers right now, bet $5 on anything. How about Suns action tonight? Suns money line, $5 against the LA Lakers play-in game tournament, whatever you want to call it. You get $200 regardless. Plus, you get your winnings only at DraftKings Sportsbook with PHNX. The crown is yours, friends. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.gambler.net. In New York, call 1-877-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. So much good stuff. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/football for terms. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms and conditions apply. Responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 160 hours after they issue. Again, DraftKings.com. The pick of the week, Trey McBride, anytime touchdown.
Can I throw a couple tastier bets in there too?
Not tastier. We've already cemented the Trey McBride anytime touchdown, but some sub bullets,
some submissions, some honorable mentions.
That's fine.
Producer Damon Dog, who's busy today, and that's no knock on Damon Dog. He's one of the hardest working guys.
He shaved his face.
PHNX, yes, he's embarrassed of his naked face. How about 26.5 rushing total for Kyler Murray?
Over?
Yeah.
I don't know if I like that.
Why?
I don't know if I'm rooting for Kyler Murray.
Did you watch Josh Dobbs in this offense?
I don't know if I'm rooting for Kyler Murray to have the over in rushing total.
He's healthy. That's the whole thing. That was one of the main takeaways from his.
Why are you trying to expose Kyler
26.5. He could get that close to one rush tomorrow on Sunday.
Okay.
And then TD scored 1. That's plus 195.
For him to rush for one?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that more than the rushing total.
I mean, Josh Dobbs had, 3 rushing touchdowns for this team?
Again, though, I do think that there's going to be some.
So scared.
The direct runs to
so
Dobbs.
Scared of winning money.
I don't know if you're doing direct runs right away with K1. Can we take the training wheels off? I know, we spent last night's pod talking about no training wheels. I'm good with that in the passing game.
Yeah.
You're not going to tell me you're not going to gasp for air when Kyler Murray takes off running. Okay.
No. I'm gonna take it in. I miss this. I'm just gonna let it you're
gonna
warm sunlight on my face
with your Shady Rays on.
That's right. Do. That's where I'm going with this. Shady Rays, of course. You can check them out in person up in Kierland Commons in North Scottsdale. They've got that location there, and you can just tell them PHNX, and they're gonna give you 50% off 2 or more pairs of premium polarized sunglasses. What's great about Shady Rays? It's a premium product. Of course, they're durable, they're great for getting outside and adventuring, but also they look great, right? They've got those boutique sunglass just kind of looks to them, but they're durable and they're it's very affordable. I mean, well under $100 price point what they got going on. You can save more money by using the promo code PHNX in store or of course online. Check out their full product line at shadyrays.com. Check them out. Pick out some sunglasses. Use that promo code PHNX and find out why 250,000 people have rated it 5 stars at shadyrays.com using that promo code PHNX.
Let's get to some matchups of the week, Bo Brack. Key matchups we're watching for ahead of the Arizona Cardinals, Atlanta Falcons. And I'm going to tell you right now, the matchups that we've selected, I like the Cardinals in both avenues.
Yeah, let's take a look at it. I think let's go with the Cardinals offense. We've been talking a lot about Kyler Murray. How about James Conner? 24 rushing touchdowns since 2021. He's right there in the top 5 in the NFL during that time.
Yeah, he's the closest thing to house money every week, the Cardinals version of Christian McCaffrey, where you look up and Conner gets in the end zone. I've talked about it. I think Kyler Murray is at his best when he's got a hulking 6-foot running back at his disposal. With all due respect to DeMercado or Chase Edmonds of years prior, even somebody like Kenyon Drake. Kyler Murray, to me, he has limitations with his size. He's not Jalen Hurts. So being able to have a presence for short yardage, I think, is imperative, especially in the red zone. James Conner, also super underrated as a pass-catching back. His inclusion into this lineup just gives the Cardinals so many more outlets. And I think this Atlanta run defense, I mean, good hell. Did you see what they surrendered against the aforementioned Joshua Dobbs, Cam Akers? Yeah. Every time we pulled up red zone last week in a BetMGM, it felt like somebody else was popping off another 20-plus yarder against this Atlanta Falcons defense for Minnesota. So, again, I know, on paper, they had a bunch of, faux statistics,
right,
plus money on the defensive side of the football. I feel like that's done. They're one of the more susceptible defenses now to the run.
When we had Baldy on, and you can see that full interview with Brian Baldinger, who is one of the great co-hosts of All City NFL.
Yeah,
breaking it down and saying, yeah, they were a top 10 defense 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And a lot's changed.
Yeah.
A lot has changed. And they're not playing any crap box quarterbacks anymore. And against crap box quarterbacks, they haven't performed. We outlined some of them in Hal and Levis and Dobbs. No disrespect, but those aren't exactly world beaters at the position. I think I was surprised to see that they'd only surrendered 2 rushing touchdowns on the season as a defense.
But how many passing touchdowns have they given up in the last 2 or 3 weeks?
They've given up a bunch of passing touchdowns, and they've given up chunk yardage. And it's an opportunity for this rushing attack to get back on track. And James Conner, he seemed to really be the straw to the offense's drink. He really stirred it up. And without him, they haven't produced nearly as high of a clip as they did without him.
Calais Campbell is their top defensive lineman with Grady Jarrett out for the year, and they're very vanilla at linebacker and safety. And you mentioned A.J. Tyrell, but Cardinals are going to have mismatches to their plenty offensively, led by James Conner. But Cardinals are just much more physical under Drew Petzing and company, and now they've got a complement now of efficiency in the passing game with Kyler Murray. I don't think you could ever say with Dobbs at the helm, they couldn't run the football effectively. They weren't physical, but you needed that extra element of accuracy, decisiveness with the football, being able to scan the intermediate part of the field. The intermediate passing game has been non-existent for much of the season. That reopens up now with Kyler Murray. And then, of course, James Conner keeps this defense honest. You look back at what was so bad against Cleveland. They kept going back to the well with the play action. It was not there because the run game wasn't there. That returns this week. Kyler Murray play action under center is going to be a beautiful thing at State Farm Stadium on Sunday.
We haven't seen Kyler Murray play quarterback in this hard-nosed of an offense. We just haven't.
Yeah.
He hasn't played under center most of his entire football career. It's been mostly finesse.
Yeah.
The offense was set up for finesse, undersized receivers, not being asked to block, get their hands dirty. That is not the case with this. And the play action was very underutilized with Kyler Murray. It's really going to be interesting to see with his skill set, with James Conner's skill set, and the way that they block up front, especially on that right side, how that's going to play out and how that's going to distress the opposing defenses going forward. So I like that. James Conner, the rushing attack against this Atlanta Falcons defense, that's going to be a key matchup to look out for. And then on the other side of things, when you look at what, they're going to who they're going to deploy at quarterback, Taylor Heineke, 0 touchdowns, 2 INTs against Gannon-led defenses. This is over the 2 years that he was in Washington, and Gannon was the DC there in Philadelphia. Against the Cardinals defense that has 10 takeaways this season. Haven't nearly seen the takeaways the last couple weeks. They need to turn up the pressure more this weekend against Taylor Heineke. Kind of a chaos quarterback.
And the Cardinals are top 10, very different from their history, especially under Cliff Kingsbury and Bruce Arians. They're top 10 against tight ends in the NFL this year. So what do the Atlanta Falcons want to do? They want to expose you with Jonnu Smith, not so much our boy Kyle Pitts, but again, that's where their bread and butter is. And they went to Jonnu Smith early and often last week. If you eliminate that, I know Drake London, it looks like he's on track to play. The Cardinals are going to get physical with these Atlanta receivers, and there are going to be opportunities to get their hands on footballs. And we saw immediately when Taylor Heineke had to play from behind last week and the pressure was on, they melted offensively in the second half. And does anybody think Minnesota's defense is worth a shit? No, they're not.
Yeah.
And the Cardinals are going to be able to manipulate Taylor Heineke at the line of scrimmage. I think this is the best we have seen from this Cardinal back seven. Garrett Williams now another week into his role. Kazir White, B.J. Ojulari, frankly, it was starting at least for part of that game against Cleveland. The Cardinals are going to have, I think, their best defensive game since a couple weeks ago at Seattle when they surrendered 20 points, which really should have been about 10-13. That's the kind of performance I think we get. Budda Baker, Jalen Thompson playing tremendous football. I think the Cardinals secondary as a whole tackle incredibly well. There were opportunities to take away the football last week. They just were unable to take advantage of what I thought was shaky play from Deshaun Watson. The Cardinals' offense was so bad it hampered what they wanted to do. Now they can play complementary football. Ball.
Yeah, but the key to this defensive performance on Sunday, and Gannon said, what Heineke does and what he can do is he can make off-schedule plays. And if they can remove that from his game, you remove any value he brings to this offense. Like if you take away his ability to get out of the pocket, make a play with his legs or make a play with his arm, and it's going to be so key to take away his ability to just feed these playmakers because that's his only job. Like he's not a playmaker himself. Like if they can take away his ability to make those off-schedule plays, keep him contained, and they've done a very good job recently with quarterbacks who have can utilize their athleticism. Holding Lamar Jackson to 17 yards of the ground. They can take that away completely. You take a guy who's pretty pedestrian in Taylor Heineke and make him below average, and that's where you should be able to see at least 1 to 2 turnovers from this offense.
I just feel like the Giants' defense that the Cardinals bestowed in week 2, I think we're past that point. I know you and I have talked about it, like, don't let these quarterbacks get right. I think the Cardinals' defense, just by pure experience, their increased acumen with what Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis want to do, they're in a much better spot. And I know a lot of the names remain the same, but like Stills wasn't starting. He's starting now. Garrett Williams, right? You've got Buddha and Jalen Thompson. Marco Wilson will remains to be seen. That's a work in progress. I don't think we're going to see the Cardinals allowing subpar quarterbacks to have get right games anymore. Like you might have, a Geno Smith or a Matthew Stafford have a nice game in the second half of this year, but Cardinals are going to benefit, I think, from a Taylor Heineke. Everybody's tight in Atlanta this week. He's calling it their Super Bowl, for God's sakes, at their press conference. Like, the Cardinals have expectations, so do the Atlanta Falcons. They have to win this game. I think the Cardinals feast on it, and I think Buda Baker gets his hands on a football this weekend.
Here's where Atlanta could make a living this weekend, though, if they just ground and pound it.
But they don't want to do that. That's not their identity.
It's crazy. I mean, if Arthur Smith turned back the clock to when he was the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans at peak Derrick Henry, and he just fed Bijan Robinson, and then he was complimented by Tyler Algier, and they just pushed around up front, which I think they're capable of doing. That I think is the worst case scenario for this Cardinals defense.
I just think he can't help himself, right? It's Kingsbury-esque from Arthur Smith. Let's get to another one of these super chats. If we could, Pick and Spreads, friend of the program, $1.99 is giving us some K1 stats. Kyler goes 24 for 35, 241, 2 touchdowns. Lock it in, 21-24. The Cardinals get the victory over Atlanta. I'd sign up for that right now. Yep. Any scenario in which Kyler Murray plays well and the Cardinals get a W, I'm all for it, no matter how it looks. We're going to get to our predictions here in a little bit, but you guys are crushing it. Like this video. Again, we got trivia coming up, free T-shirts, merch coming your way. How about some Hero Bread coming your way, courtesy of PHNX, 10% off Hero Bread. Again, like, we consume bread pretty regularly at the Venerable household, but we're trying to be smarter with the way we do it. Like, I don't know if you go to the store right now, and like, I was naive to this growing up. Like, a lot of bread has like a bunch of shit you shouldn't have, like a lot of sugar, trans fats, right? How about Hero Bread?
We were clueless growing up.
Yeah, it was like
we had no idea that you needed to drink water.
Wonder Bread.
Right.
So yeah, Wonder Bread
is I'm not going to say anything bad about Wonder Bread. It's delicious, but nutritionally, it provides you nothing.
Yeah, it's like cardboard, and you put some peanut butter on it, and you're good to go, right? The Hero Bread's got this new low-carb option. It fits my lifestyle. It's going to fit yours. They're fantastic. It's like 100 muffins per day, but minus the bad stuff. Right now, Hero Bread is offering listeners 10% off their first order. Just go to hero.co, use the promo code PHNX to save on Hero Bread today. That's hero.co to save 10% off. Again, high in fiber, which I'm always looking for fiber as, somebody who's trying to get their day going, if you know what I mean. Ultra low in net carbs, zero sugar is the money spot that you want to check out. Hero.com, hero.co, save 10% off today, Bo.
Yeah, Cole Glass, you were saying that, baked 100 muffins per day. He was just in the lab, just cooking out muffins, finding the correct just recipe to make sure that you wouldn't have any like extra filler. You weren't gonna become a muffin yourself and have a muffin pop
man
just popping out of the top of your jeans. Nobody wants that, and they're helping you with Hero Bread. They're the real MVPs. Empire Today also, you're looking for flooring. Like, this is gonna make it the easiest way possible for you to, and it's always daunting, right? I mean, flooring, it can get so expensive. It can be such a tough task to really figure out, how you're going to transition into some new flooring. And Empire Today really helps you out with it. And it's quick, it's easy, it's convenient, the speed and the service. It's exactly what you're looking for. Check out Empire Today and save while you're doing it. You get $350 off consultation. They've got their convenient shop at home service where you can go onto their website, and they've got it set up to where you can look at what your room that you're going to put new flooring in is going to look like exactly. And it takes out all the tough decisions that you have to make. They've got great people on their website that are going to be able to fill you in. They're not somebody that just was working at a failed Blockbuster video a couple of years ago. They actually know what they're talking about with flooring.
I had a buddy, he waited 6 months for somebody to do his flooring, like end to end in his house, and it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
And you talk about easy and convenient and quick. Like, you can't put a price on that.
No.
And they're going to hook you up.
Schedule your free in-home estimate today. You'll receive $350 off discount when they use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com/PHNX for details.
I love this super chat because it epitomizes the excitement we have for Kyler Murray returning. LVL7, friend of the program, $1.99. 8-0 with K1. Book it. It'll be a historic run. Listen, they have to go 1-0 this weekend. They try to go 1-0 every week, as Jonathan Gannon mentioned. However, here's what I will say. Cardinals are probably, maybe they're not 500 with Kyler Murray, but they're like, when they show those NFL graphics and it's like, here are the contenders that are leading and here are the teams that have a playoff spot. Here's some teams like in the mix. They'd be in the mix in the dismal NFC. Sure as hell they would. So I'm ready to have this kind of narrative switch on Cardinals are tanking to, hey, could the Cardinals be a feisty team at the end of the year? That's where we're headed, baby, with Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it gives them a shot each and every week. And against the team that's trending in the wrong direction, like Atlanta, it just seems like this is a huge opportunity for them to end a 6-game losing skid, get back in the win column, and really kind of pay off this entire rebuilding process with a dub.
It's like we talked about last night. Like, the Atlanta Falcons, what do they have, like 4 or 5 wins? I don't know what they have. The Cardinals have 1 win.
4 and 5.
I think there are very few people who would switch places with Atlanta right now. The infrastructure of their roster, prioritizing non-premium positions, a lame duck head coach, no quarterback. Cardinals have all the assets, all the resources. Like, the Cardinals are in a better place than the Atlanta Falcons despite their record. Like, you cannot convince me otherwise. And again, and then you trot out a franchise quarterback, albeit coming off an ACL tear, and he outplays whatever the hell they're throwing out there, Heineke, Desmond Ridder, you're going to feel pretty good. And people that playing the Cardinals are not going to feel good. I feel good about my prediction this week, Bo. I want to kick us off because I filled this out this morning for our producer, Jacob, at like 9 a.m. because it's like, book it. I know who's playing this weekend, and I know what the result is going to be, and it has not felt like this upwards since maybe they beat Dallas. Here's what I like. Johnny's prediction, Cardinals are going to win. They're going to win convincingly in Kyler Murray's return. Atlanta, I told you, is on the precipice of quitting. They looked dismal last week against Joshua Dobbs. What do they have to play for? Cardinals have everything to play for. 30-17, they get the dub behind who else? Offensive star, it's going to be Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray is going to have the better game between he and Taylor Heineke. I think he's going to have over 300 total yards. I think he's going to have 3 total touchdowns on the day. And I think, again, big players make big plays in big games. This is a big game for this franchise. On the flip side, who's their best defensive player? I don't know. Buda Baker. Buda Baker against a marginal quarterback covering tight ends. He's going to get his hand on the football this weekend. Kyler Murray, big day offensively. Buda Baker, an INT, maybe a forced fumble defensively. And then the X factor for me, Bo, it's like Hollywood Brown has been open. He's been open for like a month. Clayton Tune and Joshua Dobbs have not been able to get him the football. So I'm a Trey McBride bridesmaid. McBridesmaid, whatever the hell you want to call it. Like, I'm going to give Hollywood Brown his due. I think Hollywood Brown, just like Kyler Murray, has a lot to play for over these next 8 games because he wants to remain in Arizona. He wants to remain an Arizona Cardinal. This is a game, even against A.J. Terrell, that Kyler Murray and Hollywood Brown can begin to cement themselves as the key battery in this passing game moving into 2024. You don't take advantage of some of these matchups, like especially if you're Hollywood Brown, it's like, why are we going to pay you $15, $17, $20 million? Like, get on the same page with Kyler Murray. Maybe it takes a quarter, maybe it takes a half. I expect, Bo, looking at in the post game, at the end of the game, Hollywood Brown to go off for about 8 for 120. That's where I think we're going to be in lieu of a Cardinal victory.
Let's take a look at that graphic one more time. This is the chalkiest prediction sheet I've ever seen in my entire life. This is
I'm not trying to be cute.
You even have Hollywood Brown as an X factor?
Yeah, in the passing game. I'm sorry,
wide
smartass.
receiver 1?
Yeah.
It's like I got
Didn't that used to be unsung hero?
Yeah, it did. But it's not any longer. And it like X factor, like this is going to be somebody under the radar.
Why are you being like this? I'm going to tell you right now.
I got the star of the offense and I've got the star of the defense as my defensive star.
I can't wait.
Like these should be just the placeholders. Like this is the graphic that Jacob uses to create this, and you just like just go with just stock, just
belittling me on my own podcast. I can't wait till Gila River having a great time on the post game show, and I get to call your ass out when you're Skyping in from the press box and say, hey, who was really good today? Oh, Kyler Murray and Budda Baker and Hollywood Brown. Imagine that. I'm not trying to get cute. I'm trying to get a dub. If the Cardinals are going to score 30 points and it beat Atlanta handedly, they're going to do it with their best players. They're going to do it with respect to, Dennis Gardeck.
All right. I'm here for it. I mean,
Johnny, you could make some scratch off your prediction, too.
That's right.
I got a little creative.
I'm trying to hit some doubles.
Let's take a look at my prediction.
I don't want to do it now. I don't want to look at this.
I went with James Conner as my offensive star.
Going out on a limb there. The guy, I'm sorry.
The guy's not even active.
The guy who right now, with our friends at DraftKings, you can't even get plus money on him scoring a touchdown. Tell me more about how you're going out on a limb.
That's part of the reason. That's part of the reason because they're going to establish the run because it's going to be so important to everything that they want to do. James Conner coming back. As I said, he's the straw that stirs the drink as far as the Cardinals go offensively. Everybody sees Kyler Murray debut, and they want to bet on K1. I love it, right? But it's James Conner.
Yeah.
He's going to be the one that's leading the charge out there as he did in the win against Dallas.
Cool.
Remember how good James Conner was against the Cowboys?
Do I remember how good their best player has been this year on offense? Yeah, I do. He's really good. I'm really excited to watch him run the football when he gets 30 carries this weekend.
I'm glad you have the same feeling as I do. You should have been smart enough to pick him as your player of the game on the offensive side of the football. My defensive star is a guy who's been in the backfield a lot the last couple weeks in the form of TFLs and sacks, and that's Zaven Collins, the player that went from off-ball linebacker to pass rusher. I like him to continue to wreak havoc against the right side of the offensive line.
Okay.
I think that's where if Atlanta has any tough time protecting, it's on that side of the offensive line, and that's where Zaven Collins is usually rushing the passer from. And then I like Rondale Moore to get back on track in the passing game. He's the true X factor, right? A guy that can he's been in the backfield a little bit, running the football. You hate me right now.
I don't hate your picks, but you shit all over mine. I feel like I have to get on yours.
The slot receiver kind of gadget player, Rondale Moore. That's more of your X factor type player instead of wide receiver one.
Awesome. Kyler Murray not being on your list is malpractice, by the way.
No, because I knew that my co-host would lack originality and creativity and would go with Kyler Murray.
We know Rondale Moore kind of behind the scenes is a little bit disgruntled in his role. Like, I think it's fair to say, like, he wants more touches. You're not going to be able to maximize Rondale Moore without Kyler Murray. Like, with respect to Joshua Dobbs, like what they were doing, they were playing Rondale at running back against Cleveland. Trying to get him the football. He needs Kyler Murray. He needs K1. When Rondale Moore has been healthy with Kyler Murray, and I'll give you credit on this, like big fucking plays. You remember back against Minnesota. You remember back in San Francisco in 2021. How about Minnesota last year? Kyler Murray's last 300-yard passing game, he had a nice catch and run, did Rondale Moore for a touchdown. Like, I don't hate that pick, but like I just feel like Hollywood Brown has much more to prove right now. Like, it's go time for Hollywood Brown. It's making money time. Right? Like, if you're Hollywood Brown, are you trying to sign like a 1-year prove it deal?
Here's where I'm a little down on Hollywood Brown is his ability to, when he's going up against top tier corners, and AJ Terrell is every bit of that. I think he could take him a little bit out of the offensive game plan.
AJ Terrell last week. So if we're going to sit here and say Jordan Addison with Joshua Dobbs can cook AJ Terrell, but we're also talking about let's give Hollywood Brown $17 million with Kyler Murray, he can't cook AJ Terrell. Come on.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Jordan Addison's been in the league for like 5 minutes. I think AJ Terrell maybe is a little overrated right now.
Wow.
I think AJ Terrell
let's not poke that bear.
No, I
mean,
I don't know if he's
one of the few guys
viewer of the program
in the secondary that's can really play.
Okay, we'll see. We'll see about that. We're going to talk
and
to you.
especially with if you establish the run with Connor, if you establish the play action. I mean, guys playing in the slot, Trey McBride. I think that those guys in the middle of the field, they'll be the most open. And also when you look at Michael Wilson too, Michael Wilson's playing the role that AJ Green played in this offense Very different offense, right? He's playing the Z receiver. Kyler Murray loved to look AJ Green's way.
Well, to your point, they like to spread it around, and everybody's going to get theirs with K1 because K1 hits the open man. Like, he's not going to play favorites, even though Arizona Animal, and I agree with this to some extent, he's going to take care of his BFF. Hollywood is their best offensive player in the passing game. Like, I love Trey McBride, and I love Michael Wilson. Rondell Moore's fine. Hollywood's the guy who's consistently open. Yeah. And Kyler Murray hits the open player. I'm not going to relax. Not on my show. Not on a Football Friday. You know who else is not relaxed? Jonathan Gannon in our weekly gut meter. Jonathan Gannon is going great. Do we have the gut meter or no? Do we not have it?
Do we have the gut meter?
I did not see it in Notion.
I sent to Damon this morning. I was excited. I said, turn the gut meter up to 11.
That was an official request, though.
Yeah, that was just
we're just talking in a text.
Sorry, in our group text, I told Damon to turn it up to 11.
We'll own that.
I think he hit me with an exclamation point badge on the text, and that's not an official request.
We'll have the gut meter for the pregame show on Sunday that we're effing going to gut these guys. But I do feel like is that about a week away from being retired if they lose this game?
It's times will be tough.
Times
will be tough. But look, I mean,
I
think Kyler Murray and James Conner give you a legitimate shot to win this game, but a lot has to go right in order to do so. Like, I'm not trying to be a wet blanket. Like, it doesn't make them overwhelming favorites. It gives them a path to victory. I think at home, especially in Kyler's debut, that they should win this game.
I think there's going to be so much emotion in that building. So many, hopefully, Cardinal fans returning to State Farm Stadium, albeit maybe for 1 week. Maybe the other shoe falls against a very competent Houston team next week. The Falcons are primed to just get smoked. I think the Falcons, like 21-0 at halftime, something like that. It really just feels like that's where we're headed in this game. And again, it's not a discrepancy in talent, because I think Atlanta very competent talent-wise compared to the Cardinals. But again, the return of Kyler Murray, the emotion that comes with that, the fact that Atlanta, they want no part of this game after blowing that game to Joshua Dobbs last week and getting picked apart. This is who you are, Atlanta. You got picked apart by Dobbs and Will Levis in consecutive weeks. Now you have to come back with an emotional crowd ready to back, hopefully, K1 for the first time in a year. What did they say in the chat?
I mean, I'm just seeing Didi's predictions. They just keep going
higher.
Up and up. I saw 75-0. But Jacob, can you confirm that the gut meter, we blew the lid off of it? It's
on the floor in here. Yeah,
it's confirmed. It's somewhere. It was too large to fit onto this stream.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm fired up about that. We're fired up to give out some free merch here.
Yeah.
But before we do that, I want to tell everybody. So again, I talk about it all the time. It's great when I use something in my personal life and it's fantastic. Then I find out they're part of the PHNX family. That's Desert Financial Credit Union for you. It took us forever to switch banks. We had this old kind of crotchety bank out in the Midwest. It took us forever. I signed up with Desert Financial Credit Union in like 15 minutes. I had a brand spanking new debit card in the mail just a few days later. It may or may not have an Arizona Cardinal on it. They can hook you up right now. Big supporter of not only what we do, but the Arizona Cardinals as well. They're huge on Arizona sports. They've got checking, savings, free accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment opportunities. There's the debit card right there. I almost, on one of the shows, was not thinking it was going to show everybody my debit card. That wouldn't have been too smart, but I'm going to tell you what is smart. Check them out. Show your team spirit. Open a free checking account online. Get an Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. Go to desertfinancial.com/Cardinals to get started. I'm about convenience. Sometimes I don't want to talk to people. Sometimes I just want to find your location, get my money, and tons of Desert Financial locations here in the Valley. Check them out. You will not be sorry that you did.
You can just tap it just like you can any other credit card, debit card. It works just the same. It just looks cooler.
Yeah.
Especially when you get that Cardinals logo, Desert Financial. Can't go wrong there. You also can't go wrong with becoming a diehard today. You want to be in the Discord. You want to continue the chat throughout the game all day Sunday. Johnny and I will be in there. Howard Balzer will be in there. Chatting it up, breaking down each play. It's like watching the Manning cast with the PHNX Cardinals crew right there.
That's right.
Right? We're commenting on it, giving our witty remarks on it. Be in the member Discord. The only way to do that, only way to access that, become a diehard today. Get full access, of course, to gophnx.com. You know Howard's going to be dropping a game preview tomorrow. Don't miss out on that. Become a diehard. You get that free swag from PHNX. You don't have to win a trivia contest in order to do so. You get your free T-shirt, hat by becoming a diehard. You get one of those each and every year. go PHNX.com, PHNXlocker.com as well.
Speaking of free stuff, let's give some free stuff out right now. We got 215 watching. Hit that like button. This is the final day, day 3 of trivia. Again, we're going to be at Gila River, Wild Horse Pass this Sunday for the game. It's our watch party. You all can come to that. No questions asked. Come hang out. Food and drink specials. Hang out with all of us, right? So that's the preamble. Come out regardless of the outcome. However, if you do get a quick trivia question correctly here in the next 10 minutes, to come and claim your t-shirt, you got to show up to the watch party. And then, of course, hang out with me, get your picture taken with Britton Golden, former Arizona Cardinal special teamer wide receiver on the Bruce Arians NFC West Championship. So, again, you want your t-shirt, you got to be active. So I had a couple people ask me, hey, I'm going to the game. Not eligible this week for the t-shirt. So go, of course, if you're going to the game, go support the team. But your next best option, if you're not with Bo at the stadium, Gila River Wild Horse Pass Casino Sportsbook. Come get your t-shirt. Come hang out with us. Kyler Murray giveaways, helmets, footballs. If you come and get your t-shirt, right, you can also be eligible to get all that free stuff at Wild Horse Pass. Again, right now we're going to do 5 giveaways. Count them 5. So how we've been doing this, producer Jacob, is they have to respond with PHNX and then the right answer, right? Is that what we decided upon?
So your buzzer is just type in.
PHNX works as like the what it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you have to be based here in Arizona or be in the Valley this weekend to come get your t-shirt.
Yep. So let's get into it.
Let's do it. First question of the 5. Trivia question number 1. Prior to Kyler Murray, who was the last Arizona Cardinal to win Rookie of the Year honors? Again, the last one before Kyler Murray did it in 2019 to win Rookie of the Year. Put in PHNX and then your response, and you will win a free PHNX t-shirt that you can claim this weekend at Gila River. What do we got in terms of responses? Anything yet, Bo Brock?
I don't see any PHNX in there yet. So people, there is a bit of a delay. So we got Chase. Let's go, Chase. You're up, man. So you're the first one to chime in. What's your guess for the last Cardinals player to win Rookie of the Year before Kyler Murray?
It is, I'm going to just tell you right now, it's one of my all-time favorite Arizona Cardinal players. Not too many accolades for this franchise to be bestowed upon. But again, Chase, you are up, my friend. Who is the most recent Rookie of the Year outside of Kyler Murray?
Still waiting for Chase's response. Seeing some good answers in the chat. One of them is correct.
Look at that. Chase got it correctly. It is Anquan Bolden. Anquan Bolden, Rookie of the Year out of Florida State back in 2003. Second-round pick for the Cardinals. Of course, his debut against the Detroit Lions, over 200 yards. Chase, you, my friend, free t-shirt this Sunday. Come to Wild Horse Pass, Gila River Resort Casino. Pick it up, hang out, and be eligible to win even more. So there's question number 1 in the books.
All right, let's take a look at our second question here for a free PHNX t-shirt. Chime in with PHNX, and then we'll tell you if you can answer or not, if you get in quick enough. Trivia question number 2. When was the last 100-yard receiving game by a tight end for the Arizona Cardinals? This is a tough answer, but if you follow me on Twitter, I think I've been putting it out there.
That's why I did it.
Quite a bit. Trey McBride was so close, 95-yard performance, but it has been ages since there has been an Arizona Cardinals, since they moved to the desert. It's been a long time since they've had a 100-yard game from that position. Chime in with PHNX. If you can name the year, you're going to have to go way back on this one.
You can either give us the year or the player.
Okay.
Either or works great. We've got St. Blurry putting it in. PHNX 2017. That is incorrect. I'm going to give everybody a clue right now. It's much longer than 2017. Yeah. Much longer. I think Trey McBride is the next to do it, and I think he might do it this weekend. Connor saying Max Williams, no. Michael Dumpson, Big Dan Arnold, no. Cardinal Charles, Johnny's grandpa. I wish my grandfather did it. Chris saying PHNX Todd Heap, that is incorrect. This one might stump everybody.
This is tricky.
Yeah.
This is tricky.
You got to go back. I mean, we're going way back.
You said you tweeted out, right, Bo?
I did.
You can Google. We'll let everybody Google. Who can Google this response?
Arizona Animal. The question is, the last time there was a 100-yard receiver at the tight end position by the Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals Charles, who's already won a T-shirt.
Trying to win more.
Yeah.
1993 is incorrect.
You got to go further back than that. Grins, was it Grins one?
That's too far.
Yeah.
Pretty well. Gresham, no.
Connor Stallions, I think you can, if you reordered those numbers, you could get there.
Yes. Giving out some clues here. Game Geek, not Larry Fitzgerald, even though a lot of people wanted to move him to tight end. Oh man, I say we give this about a couple more responses, and then that's it for this one. This one's incredibly difficult. I'll say 5, 4, 3. There it is. Connor.
Well, we got Michael up there.
Did Michael do it first?
But I don't think Michael's local.
He is not. Is he not? I think we give it to Connor. Connor got it. Look, Rob Atwell, 1989 against who? Dallas Cowboys. At home, 105 yards. We are due. I think that is long story short there. So, Connor, congratulations. Chase and Connor, the first 2 winners here on a Football Friday. Locally based. Get me your T-shirt size. DM me. My DMs are open on Twitter, as are Bo Brock's. Our DMs are open on Instagram. We're going to get you your T-shirt. Come out. Wild Horse Pass. The casino is Gila River. 3 more questions, Bo Brock.
Let's do it. Let's get to our next one, Jacob. Trivia question number 3. Other than their college football playoff loss against Alabama, what was Kyler Murray's Oklahoma Sooners' lone regular season defeat back in 2018? Man, that is
You don't like that one?
That's a tough question.
It is a tough question. And like a lot of people, I was not too tapped in on the Oklahoma Sooners that year and with Kyler Murray because I thought the Cardinals had their franchise quarterback in Josh Rosen. Boy, was I wrong. So the Cardinals, or Kyler Murray and the Oklahoma Sooners went 12-2 that year. They lost in the college football playoff to Alabama. They lost 1 game in the regular season. Didn't cost them their Big 12 title. Who did they lose to? What team did they lose to? Again, put in PHNX and the name of the team that they lost to. Free Warrior 4, PHNX Texas. You got it. That's right. They lost at home to the 19th ranked Texas Longhorns. Can't believe Kyler Murray would lose to the rival. 19th ranked Texas beat Kyler Murray week 6, only regular season loss of Kyler Murray's career at Oklahoma, Bo.
All right, let's get to trivia question number 4. Which current Arizona Cardinals player holds the highest salary cap hit this season?
I don't know if I even know this one. It's
Zach, are you chiming in on that one, or was that the previous answer?
I think that was the previous answer. Free Warrior 4 got the Texas one. DM us with your T-shirt size. We will see you this weekend. All right, who's got the highest cap hit for the Arizona Cardinals with a T-shirt on the line? Gila River
on
this
the
weekend.
roster currently, so don't think we're still catching up here.
Who do you think it is?
Maybe I'll give it away.
Oh man, the trivia question.
No, well, so Grins one, I knew people would come in with Hop. So on the roster currently, so D Hop is not on the roster.
Great question though,
because he had 21 million in dead cap. Chase DJ Humphreys, that is incorrect.
Hey, how about Arizona Animals saying DJ Humphreys? DJ for sure. Man, this is a tough one. Oh man. Well, I know the Cardinals, PHNX Humphrey. A lot of people going DJ Humphreys. Joel in the chat, we're not gonna give it to you because you got to put PHNX in front of it. Locally based here. Are you locally based, Joel? I'm kind of giving away the answer here. Indirectly or directly. Listen, we're having fun on a Friday. Mason saying PHNX James Conner. That is incorrect.
That's incorrect.
Come on, somebody's gonna jump at it here. Who we got? Anybody? In the meantime, if you're still thinking about this, like this video. Chris, are you locally based? Buda Baker?
Buda Baker. We can't beat around the bush anymore. Chris, you're the winner. It is Buda Baker at just almost under $18 million. That's his cap hit this season. So that's the guy. Mason chiming in also. PHNX buddy. Buda. Gotcha.
Buda is our buddy. We got one more question here.
All right. Last one.
One more T-shirt to give away, Bo.
Who has the most tackles for the loss for this season for the Arizona Cardinals? This is pretty easy if you know your defensive war daddies for the Cardinals.
He is a war daddy. That's a big clue. And the Cardinals, listen, they've had some turnover on their defensive line. Who's been a staple of that front seven, or maybe that entire defense for Arizona? PHNX and the Response, locally based here in Arizona. Come and get your T-shirt.
All
So
right, Chris, you did win that one with Buda Baker. That was the correct answer. We'll get you hooked
DM us,
up,
my friend.
That's right. And now we just need K1 is actually, I believe, second on this one with $16 million.
He will be one next year.
Yeah,
that's
with
$52 million.
He might be the highest in the league at that point, because some of these quarterback contracts aren't going to hit in too soon.
Charles, my guy, you're ineligible. You've already won this week. I love you, my guy. Can't wait to see you and your bro on Sunday. Easy, no steroids. Kazir White, PHNX.
That's right.
You are correct, my friend. Easy, no steroids, long friend of the program. You are our final winner this week. Kazir White leads the Cardinals with 9 tackles for loss. Came over from Philadelphia with JG, former draft pick of the Los Angeles Chargers. Again, all of our winners today, congratulations. DM one of us on the social platform of your choosing. Give us your T-shirt size. We will see you at Gila River Wild Horse Pass this weekend for the watch party to claim your T-shirt.
So before we get out of here, I saw some people in the chat asking, what was your, I guess, main takeaway from Kyler's press availability yesterday?
So we did our audio only, but yeah, we'll get into a little bit here. I think Kyler Murray has been aged by this experience in a good way. And what I mean by that is he's been able to reflect. And I think he, among anything else, is trying to move forward with the Arizona Cardinals. Like, I tweeted this out yesterday. There were a lot of unprofessional, immature people that were associated with this franchise. Kyler Murray is not one of those people. Kyler Murray has one thing in mind: getting a championship for this franchise, knowing that he can win with this franchise. I love the comment that we've talked about. I'm not even thinking about Atlanta. I'm thinking about us. I'm thinking about our team. The fact that now the Cardinals have done their best to put grown-ups in the room, winners, right? Gannon in the Super Bowl last year, Austin Ford, part of the New England Patriots from an administrative standpoint, and in Tennessee. Like those are things that are going to perk Kyler Murray up and get the respect that maybe he didn't have for the prior regime that was earned. So I'm going to tell you right now, I think Kyler Murray has grown, has evolved, and I think his best football is in front of him.
Yeah, I think that this is finally an organization that sets up the infrastructure not to enable him, but to get the best version of Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
And it's challenging him. I mean, Jonathan Gannon always is talking about how he challenges him in team meetings, and it seems like he responds quite well to it. I mean, Kyler Murray is not only competitive on the football field, he's competitive off the football field, and that's kind of how you get him going. And you know, the accountability that they've put in place from the front office down to the coaching staff to the roster to even beyond that, it seems to have the organization trending in the right direction. So, you know, I really liked what he said. It was kind of enough. Like he likes what the organization is doing for him, and then also like, hey, I'm going to do this for you. Like when they're talking about tempering the expectations, he jokes like he laughed at Gannon for saying, hey, you know, you're going to be rusty a little bit. And he says, well, you just don't know how I operate.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah.
JG. We'll see about this. Michael Dumpson, $5 super chat. Underdog Fantasy has a pick'em for every week. Kyler Murray this week. In completion, a person will win a copy of a Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 Unreal Disrespect. If you don't think that fuels Kyler Murray, you're out of your mind, man. Like, that's so played out, but at the same time, like, all they can do to remedy all of this outsized noise is to win on Sunday and continue winning.
Yeah. It's just a lazy promotion.
Easy target. But again, like, what people don't understand and don't remember, like, you can laugh at players, you can make fun of players. Kyler Murray was an elite player before his injury. He's an elite talent. Top 10, drafted in 2 professional sports. Like that, I think that's what's being missed in all of this, is this isn't Daniel Jones, respectfully. This isn't Zach Wilson, who people make fun of, these middling quarterbacks. This is a guy that, at the end of the day, when he was cooking, is an MVP candidate. And now you've got him pissed off and motivated in conjunction with a head coach I could say the same about. Like, it's just not a tandem I would want to bet against, especially in the NFC. Like, this is not the AFC with a who's who of Pro Bowl quarterbacks. They are an 8-game stretch away. Kyler Murray playing well. from being a playoff team in 2024, and I really do believe that.
Yeah, and I agree with Arizona Animal, and Hollywood Brown said this much this week at his locker when discussing Kyler Murray and some of the things that he's misunderstood about. But, the cure-all for that is winning football games.
Yeah.
And, he can start as early as Sunday, and it's crazy. Like, we talked about it on our audio only last night with following the loss of the Panthers to the Chicago Bears. Couple rookie quarterbacks. One was number 1 overall and one was not.
Yeah.
And how bad Carolina looked, and is Carolina going to win a football game the rest of the year? And you look at what's going on with the New York Giants, who have just 2 wins on the season, correct? And even though the Giants beat the Arizona Cardinals, the way that the NFL draft is set up, that if your records are equal, they go on strength of schedule. And it doesn't favor the team with the harder schedule. It favors the team that has the easier schedule. And the Arizona Cardinals have one of the hardest schedules remaining in the NFL alone. So if Kyler Murray wins a game on Sunday, right out of the gates, he can really take the Cardinals out of striking distance of a Caleb Williams-Drake May draft pick.
It may only take 2 wins at the end of the day. Could take less than that, but I think 2 wins at most, I think, is going to push them in a position where you're going to be talking about everything but a quarterback for this franchise. And again, the optics are important. We talked about it, but I'm not in a position here to say that Kyler Murray, to me, against this Falcons defense, needs to eat and it is going to eat. I don't expect a pedestrian performance. I expect big numbers in a victory. And I think Jonathan Gannon and Drew Petzing do as well.
I mean, they struggle against the Baker Mayfields, the 3 quarterbacks that we mentioned that they struggled against, that they've given up 10 total touchdowns combined to, from Howell to Dobbs to Levis. It just makes sense that it's a solid team to come in off of an injury to kind of get your feet wet against, and not only that, but come in and have a solid performance if he can come out and be as accurate of a passer as he's been in his career to this point.
One more time, I want to remind everybody, if you're not going to the game, your next best option, our watch along party at Gila River Wild Horse Pass here in the Valley. I cannot wait to see all the t-shirt winners there. I can't wait to see everybody there. Frankly, opportunities abound to win Kyler Murray signed memorabilia. It is the home of PHNX on home game days. The watch along party, myself, Britton Golden, Damon Dog, Saul Bookman, everybody, PHNX Cardinal personalities. We're going to get there. It's going to be a banner time because it is the 2023 season 2.0, because now K1's in the fold. Are you going to be in the fold? Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. Like this video. Thank you, producer Jacob, Bo Brack. I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you at the game.
We all silly like the mayor.